All right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly Partner Explained webinars, which we are starting with today's session. And let me start with a few household announcements. First of all, I would like to let you know that this session is recorded. You can ask questions using the Q&A tab, and you can ask them anonymously. And if you print your name, it will be visible to the viewers of the recording. Content for this session is available at the link which is published as announcement in the Q&A tab. And we're asking you in the end of the session to take a few minutes to fill in a short survey. With this, I will hand over to the presenter of today's session, Olga. Olga, please.
Thank you, Evgeny. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. We are very pleased to have you here for our first partner webinar of this fiscal year, focusing on security topic. We have today 3 representatives of different Microsoft groups, which is, I think, is great. We have Rasmus here from the business group and the marketing side of things. We have Igor from the technical team, from CSA team, and we also have myself for go-to-market. In terms of agenda for today, first of all, we'll spend a few minutes to talk about what's new in Microsoft security, where we are with some new products and offerings, and also what we believe the partner opportunity is for you to work with us on the security solutions. Then we will talk a little bit about how you can develop your security practice and what resources, new resources and certifications you have available to you. To drive that. And also then I will be the last one talking about go-to-market programs for security specifically, and also a little bit about Microsoft partner incentives. So with that, I would like to pass the microphone to Rasmus to kick us off. Rasmus, we cannot hear you, just in case.
Hello from my side. So like Olga said, I'm Rasmus. I'm from CEE area Modern Work and Security Business Group. And I'm going to do a little bit kind of an update and recap where Microsoft positions in the security vendors landscape and how we see really doing also kind of introduction to the partner opportunity. And then throughout the full session, you will see additional aspects being discussed by Igor and Olga as well. Now, the important thing, if we think about security, is that how this whole landscape is actually evolving, right? And many of the aspects here on the screen you are familiar with, likely. So during the last year and a half, or even more, you've seen like exponential growth of the hybrid work, right? And imminently with the hybrid work, a lot of companies actually fell behind on the security, let's say, side. They needed to start to work in a hybrid or remote way, but they weren't really ready on the security side to really support it in a full scale. So this is kind of still area of improvement for many large organizations. Of course, the number of endpoints, this is also exponentially growing. Different operating system, different form factors, etc. So essentially, how to really protect and carry that remote and hybrid work to those different devices as well. And of course, I mean, with devices, with operating systems, and also any let's say softwares, the thing there is that how do we really kind of keep them secure over time, essentially starting from the endpoint management, how do we really manage those endpoints, how to do the threat protection, things like that, up to the how do we really protect our external web-facing applications, right? And of course, the threat landscape itself is also evolving. So exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities, things like that, you have seen. This is like a growing trend, and among top the threats, phishing continues to be #1 thing where how actually the kind of access to different sorts of user identities and data is actually received by the bad guys, right? And one of the things there, and this is where I'll touch a little bit more base, is actually the fact that the current networks, they are really not optimized to prevent this type of attacks and lateral movements between the organization or within the organization. And what you should expect that will actually continue, right? All the things, they are here already or have been in one or the other form for the past couple of years. But what you will continue to observe is that there is, instead of employees, there is a broad set of different type of users, right? External, internal, temporary, partners, customers, etc., and bots, in example. So how do we really start to protect all types of different users instead of just company employees, right? And of course, with a explosion or kind of exponential growth of endpoints and devices, and especially in the hybrid and remote work scenario, the bring your own devices here stronger than ever, right? You have heard about the term 10 years back, but now it's here more than and stronger than ever, right? And how we really kind of manage and protect those devices. This becomes more and more important over time. And of course, explosion of software as a service applications. How do we integrate the identity piece into there? How do we really protect the access, etc.? So that will continue to evolve, both being, let's say, for officially company use or kind of like through a personal identity, but still for a company purpose, right? And technology will evolve over time, and machine learning and power of AI, this is kind of the, how to say, strong centerpiece of the security already and going forward as well. And of course, together with kind of all the devices applications, this is exactly what the kind of spot is on the network perimeter, right? So the perimeter has also exploded, and let's come back to that in a second. And of course, with everything, with different devices, different systems, etc., the explosion of signals. So how do we are really able, as a security, let's say, security expert, security architect, security administrator, able to really manage everything and understand what's happening and how to really do kind of a proper analysis, right? So instead of just simple log collection and stuff like that, this is something where no human can today really kind of keep up with the pace of the signals, right? Now, because of all those different trends, the fact is that conventional security tools, they have not kept in place, right? If we would do and address the security in a way that we did, let's say, 10 years past, this is no way secure, right, today, because we have not enough manpower to analyze everything and understand everything and react to everything, right? So let's take a very simple example. If you remember, still there used to be a strong marketplace for a endpoint antivirus, right? But nowadays we're talking about much more sophisticated attacks against what we actually need to protect, right? So if we would focus only on the endpoint antivirus, this is like a kind of approach 10 years or even more from the past, right? This hasn't really kept up. We need to evolve and protect ourselves through different, let's say, vectors. And of course, one thing is to kind of throw a lot of human resources to the problem, but that's not going to kind of crack the code, because the explosion of the signals, explosion of the number of devices, and kind of evolvement of the user profile of the user type, this is something that is in nowadays world by no means able to be managed by only, let's say, by a human beings, right? We need to really have the power of the AI and cloud to do a lot of analysis in the back end and just to provide, let's say, this point of time decisions to specific persons who are capable to understand what's happening and how to respond, right? And of course, regulatory and kind of legal requirements over time, just as, let's say, a couple of years past the whole GDPR, let's say, legislation, etc. These things is also something that we'll continue to see to evolve, right? So the modern reality really is that instead of this old way of addressing the security and building this protected perimeter around our organization, I mean, this is no surprise. That time is long time over, right? And this is essentially, if you think, this is essentially where the whole zero trust concept, and that's actually something that started already in the let's say 2004, 2005, and has also evolved over time. And now really more and more customers are approaching this type of mindset, right? How to implement the zero trust, because zero trust was originally exactly created to address from two sides, from the network side, from the identity side, to really expand the protection of the perimeter and forget about this kind of a physical perimeter protection, right? and expand it over different type of user identities, different type of application, different type of networks, etc. So this is essentially what our customers are thinking and where we as Microsoft are positioning a lot of our security solutions, right? How to approach the modern reality and have, let's say, modern security perimeter. Now, our security story, of course, expands, I would say, really end to end. Okay, so it's in reality, there's a long list. I'm not going to go through it. More than 40 different categories across our cloud, across different vendors' cloud, different operating systems, different devices, etc. So how to really manage and have a proper, let's say, security capability across all those different infrastructures, right? And the centerpiece for us is, of course, our security suite and Microsoft 365, right? Now we would say, okay, fine. A lot of security vendors are out there. They are doing really nice products, right? And for customers, long time, the story has been that, listen, I will always take the best of breed vendor for this particular job, and then I will use it for this specific function, right? One downside of that is that you are actually paying more, which is kind of, how to say, can be considered that as a total cost of ownership side that, okay, but then I have multiple vendors, etc. It's kind of, I feel better protected because of that, and I know it's best of breed. But at the same time, you're actually overpaying. And on the second side, you are losing the integration between different systems, or you need to invest significant amount of money to really integrate between those different security systems, right? So there are downsides to that approach. Now, if we look, then one of the key things in the M365 E5 security suite is the very strong integration across the whole Microsoft cloud. So everything that we are actually putting out there, we have very strong integration through our security tools into Office 365, Dynamics, etc., 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 to Azure, right? So that's kind of the thing that is important to keep in mind. And last but not least is, of course, the cost as well. So in an essence, if we would look at a customer who has done really the best of breed approach, then going there, positioning, covering the functions that they are really actually expecting from the security aspects to be covered, we can position M365 E5 likely with up to 60% of savings. And that's not a small number, right? So that's kind of the thing. Now, for many customers still, I would say, particularly in the Central Eastern Europe area, Microsoft is not considered as a serious security vendor, right? So if you walk to a customer, they say, yeah, what about this, what about that? And you say Microsoft, and they will say that, yeah, but Microsoft is, still like a Windows and Office company, which is actually true. We still have a very strong operating system, very strong productivity stack, but actually we have been in the security business for a very long time now, right? And if we look, these are the latest Gartner quadrants across 5 different categories where Microsoft is actually positioned as a leader, okay? So important message to customers as well, if they do consider Gartner as a kind of referenceable source and credible source, let's discuss and consider how Microsoft actually is positioned on this security vendors landscape and what we are able to actually provide to the customer from the technology stack. Now, in addition to what we are offering, there is a very nice program, and Olga is going to touch base a little bit more on that a little later, which is Microsoft Intelligent Security Association, right? You might have heard of it, you might have not, but important to know is that we have at current rate more than 130 ISVs with their managed security offers and solutions that we are kind of integrating and able to provide through our platform. So that's important to know. Your customer has specific needs. Through the MISA, we are able to provide different type of offerings for them. Now, like I said, Microsoft has been in the security business actually for a quite long time. And if you look today, we have reached more than 10 billion in revenue just purely in the security business, okay? So that's not a small number, right? So that's actually already, how to say, significant chunk of the Microsoft all-up revenue as well. So it's not a small thing for us. We are continuing to heavily invest to the development and also managing different security services. So, and if you look by numbers, we have more than 400,000 customers worldwide and 90 out of the Fortune 100 who have really trusted into our security and compliance and identity solutions, right? So there is a very strong customer commitment worldwide, and that is actually growing by a minute, right? We have a lot of people in the security dedicated to really work on the security and to provide not only, let's say, to do the product development, but also to provide, let's say, customer different type of services. And we are investing significantly in terms of the development side as well. Together with our starting from the operating system, endpoint protection, things like that, there is an enormous amount of signals based on what we can actually build and educate our AI, right? And make it even smarter to then provide back value to the customers through different security solutions, such as Defender for Endpoint, etc., or ATP. So how to react to different type of situation, to different type of signals, right? So that's really, really important. We have a really strong signals base, what we can feed in and do this kind of collective learning and improve our solutions, okay? Now, sorry about that. Something with a slide. Okay. So Olga, I gave back control to you. Just a second. Something happened with our presentation, but let me get back into it in another way. So something happened with Olga's machine. Okay, so moving along, really quick recap on the partner opportunity as well before I pass over to Igor. So if you think what's really, how to say, one side is that what Microsoft is offering to the customers, right? But how you as partners can really integrate into the story. One thing is to really resell it, right? But actually what we see growing over time is the number of, how to say, the importance of the services that partners are offering to the customers, right? And actually at current, it's almost 50-50. So how customers are actually spending their investments to security. So it's half about the products and half about really the services. And also important to notice that over time, customers' investment out of the total IT budget for security is growing year over year. So this is just showing between 2014 to 2016, but we can imagine that nowadays it's even higher, above 30% or more, right? And what we have based on our own commission studies seen is that for partner security revenue opportunity, the overall increase throughout the last 4 years has been around 40%, right? But year over year, managed services. So consider any managed service you are able to kind of offer to the customers. This is where we see a significant growth as an opportunity based on the last 4 years, right? So how customers and what type of things they are actually needing and actually requesting from the partners. What we have also seen is that by average per month, the spend by customers is $13 for modern work and security. It has been, right, in 2020. In 2021, we are expecting that is actually doubling, right? So, or close to doubling, reaching to $24 per month. And then moving further, combining not only the M365 security stack, but also the whole cloud security stack that we have from the Azure side, then we are expecting that to reach actually up to $30 per user per month if we combine not only the products and solutions, but also the managed services, what you as partners are able to offer to the customer. And if we do like a split-wise, then 42% out of that is actually those managed services, what I just mentioned. And then you see there is a smaller and smaller set on the actual deployment piece, adoption and change management, and then building specific solutions on top, right? What customers really need or what they think that they need. Now, if we split it otherwise, that across different aspects in the security, then compliance, identity, they are close to 1/5, and also the cloud security, and up to 40% is actually about really the modern work stack and protecting that stack, right? So how do we do endpoint protection? How do we do this productivity protection, things like that? Now, our opportunity is really to grow, continue to grow together, right? And particularly for this this year, or Microsoft year, let's call it like that, which began in July. We are focusing on a certain set of security sales plays, right? So we have a specific, let's say, approach to different parts of the security, starting from the zero trust, and we are calling it zero trust foundations, and then moving along to more advanced security scenarios, such as modernizing security and defending against threats, protecting Azure, hybrid and multi-cloud, right? So all those different cloud vendors, protecting and governing sensitive data, how to really do this compliance piece, right? And also how to manage and investigate risks. And they all have specific pitch decks behind. They have all specific resources in terms of different programmatic offers, etc., behind, which Olga is actually going to cover. I mean, like a framework. And all our activities are aligned to those sales plays. So if you later will hear about this Immersion workshops, or you are more likely very familiar with the Cloud Accelerator workshops, etc., all those different resources are aligned to those sales plays and actually there to really support kind of the opportunity behind. That's it from my side. Thank you very much. I will pass it over to Igor.
Thank you, Rasmus, and I'm back, so I will reshare the. Just one moment. Yeah, there we go. Okay, go ahead, Igor. Hopefully my slides are.
Can you just put it into the full screen, please?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. So, hello everyone. My name is Igor Polekovic, and as Olga mentioned at the beginning, I'm working in the Build With team of the Global Partner Solution Organization. I'm the techie guy here, especially for security and compliance. And today I'm going to speak to you about, the type of the partners that we are working on and what's the desired actually type of the partner that we are seeing, and some technical details about upskilling and similar stuff. So with that, the first thing that I want to share to you is the type of the partners that we are having. So Olga, if you can move please to the to another next slide.
Yes, Igor. Apologies, my screen is frozen. I don't know what's happening today. I'm so sorry.
Okay, no problem. Do you want me maybe to share the presentation and drive it from my side?
Igor, yes, please, if you can. I'm really sorry, but I'm not sure.
No problem. So give me just a couple of seconds.
No, wait a second. It moved. So.
Okay, so let's see if it's going to go in this way. So something that we call security partner staircase describes actually the stages that we are seeing the partners that are driving security with us moving forward. So when you think about the traditional Microsoft businesses, like, for instance, implement the service for the, I don't know, endpoint device management, like System Center Configuration Manager or similar product. So we have the type of the partners that are just, enabling customers to operate specific topics. So, or sell the licenses, and usually those are the same type of the partner. So it's kind of, the partner that is system integrator, but doesn't go really deep into specific topic. It's like, maybe another example is that the system integrator partner is going to implement the SQL Server, and then you are going to engage with with the partner that is more in the BI, database, application development, etc. So that's the type A of the partners that we are speaking about. They are focused on the licensing. They drive POCs with the customers, receive some incentives, and they do some basic security deployments or enablement and leave the service, leave the product to the customer, so the customer needs to handle it by themselves. This is the least profitable model that we are working with. So those kind of partners, they, as I said, receive incentives, they get some markup from the license sales, but basically they don't monetize the service further as they should. When we move to the next stage, it's the B type of the partners. They are more advanced in the security. They really understand, for instance, how to enable and work with the customer to help them understand the different types of the security or management of the products. Like they can really understand their need and position exactly what the customer needs. So those type of the partners are going to deliver, for instance, cloud accelerator workshops in which they are going to discover the customer, understand their needs, and position the right product to them. And they are not focused only on specific kind of topics, but they provide really end-to-end security. And then we have the most advanced security partners that are usually not doing different things than security. They don't care about incentives coming from the license sales. They don't care about selling licenses at all, but they are really focused in delivering the managed services to the customers, like managed security operations center. We call them, or the industry call them MSSPs, which means managed security service provider. Those are the partners that really understand security. They really know how to operate it, and they are going to implement that knowledge and give that knowledge to the customer. They offer the managed threat and detection. For instance, Rasmus described to you, like 10 years ago, situation with antivirus solution. These partners don't actually implement the antivirus solution, but they are looking for what is happening with the customer's environment. They respond to threats. They help the customer resolve any incidents that they might be, etc. The important thing that this type of the partners offers security as a service. It's divided into, managed security operations center as the service, zero trust as a service, endpoint management as a service. So it's completely different approach. Like, okay, dear customer, do you want us to manage your endpoint devices? Those partners usually don't even have the physical connection, like they don't reside in the same country as the customer, because they can deliver those kind of services completely remotely. Like in the CEE, we have a couple of examples of the partners that are working from Hungary, Slovenia, Malta, and they are covering the whole world with these kind of services to the customers. And of course, there is going to be some additional intellectual property built into it, but it's not like building the applications, but basically building the security knowledge, how to easily manage customers' environment, because those kind of partners have a lot of basically different customers that they need to manage. So imagine to have 200 customers for which you are managing the security for them. So ABC is the staircase in terms of not just the maturity of the partner, but basically in the revenue of the partner. And usually traditional partners, Microsoft partners, cannot deliver services in C-level. We are driving that, we are enabling that, and we have more and more partners joining that team, but it requires tremendous, I would say, commitment from the partner side to be into that sense. So on the next slide, you are going to be something similar what Rasmus was telling you, and that's actually the end-to-end Microsoft security. I have divided it into 4 categories. The first one is identity and access management, in which the partners profile into delivering actually identity integration, identity protection, story like multi-factor, passwordless, Active Directory, all of that stuff. The second one is compliance, which is everything around information protection, data discovery, data retention, classification, and similar. One of the great things here is the insider risk management. For instance, that's the story that you are going to speak to the HR. It doesn't have anything to do with the ITs with the customers. That's purely HR and compliance / legal department that you need to speak to be able to position this solution. The third one is the threat protection, in which we have a variety of the things. So it's like prevention, detection, and responding to the threats that exist in the customer's environment. We have multi-layered approach with XDR at the bottom, so meaning Azure Defenders on both sides, and then everything connects to the CM and SOAR solution. So for instance, what we are seeing, a lot of our partners are trying to position to customer Sentinel directly without understanding actually for what the Sentinel is going to be used, and not handling that lower level of XDR solution that the customer actually needs. So it's really important to understand what the customer exactly needs and what can we offer to them directly. And the last piece here is the cloud security, in which we are protecting the workloads in the cloud. So it's basically, if the customer is running something in Azure, how we are going to do the cloud workload protection platform or cloud security posture management for the customers. Or on the endpoint side, there is Cloud Access Security Broker to discover the shadow IT environments and similar. So in this slide, you see all of those solutions, but basically offered in the end-to-end direction with 4 categories to which we bound it. So on the next slide, what you are going to see is actually the something that we called current versus desired partner profile. So usually, we have a lot of partners that say, or the Microsoft sales comes to us and say, hey, we have a partner that we are going to upskill. They are really good with the customer, and the customer will wait. The answer is customer won't wait us or the partner to become upskilled to be able to sell and implement security. For that reason, we have engaged, and we are encouraging you to engage in something that is called partner to partner. Why is that? Because you are really good with the customers on the field, you know them, you know them really good, but maybe you are lacking security expertise, that end-to-end story, that managed detection and response story. So don't wait and upskill you, because it takes a lot of time. It takes from 6 to 12 months to upskill to be able to provide those services to the customer. So during that period, you can utilize the other partners that are willing to cooperate in the partner-to-partner motion to share their expertise with you, to actually work on the customer cases with you. They are even not willing to expose themselves. So for the end customer, it's going to look like that you are offering the services until you gain the knowledge, the expertise to deliver that. So that's the situation that we kind of really are looking for and encourage you to. The next thing that we see, position Microsoft Defender, position Sentinel to customer. We need to send Sentinel to the customer. The question is why? What the customer needs. It's not the product that you are trying to actually solve at the customer level, but the customer has a pain that we need to somehow solve with the solution. So don't think about products, think about how customer thinks, what they need to solve. So if they are having issue with, for instance, crypto lockers, what kind of solutions can you offer for the crypto lockers? It can be just pure enabling OneDrive, but it can be actually, implementation of the retention policies from the compliance portion of the spectrum of our products, not even, security products. It really depends what the customer needs. In security, we don't look at Azure or M365 partners. Security is kind of, the horizontal layer that connects everything. So it really is cross-workload end-to-end security that we want to offer to customer. For instance, if the customer has the endpoints like PCs, Macs, Linux machines, working on them every day, mobile phones, we are going to target that with M365 solution. But what if the same customer has the workloads in Azure? then you cannot tackle that in the same way. But the customer needs same level of protection for the workloads that are, the workstations, so-called, and the servers running in Azure. In security, we usually don't compete with competition. Why is that? Because we work hand to hand with them. Olga is going to speak about MISA program. In MISA, we have a lot of traditional Microsoft competitors that you are going to be surprised to see there. But that's the reason why we are working with them to offer the best possible experience to customers. So the usual type of the integrations are like the customer is, familiarized with checkpoint solutions, and they migrate to Azure. In Azure, they can deploy those checkpoint solutions, but they can use cloud workload protection from Microsoft on top of that, because the checkpoint doesn't offer that kind of services. So depending on the situation, we are working actually with the competition, not competing with them. Envisioning session and basic services enablement, as I told you, that's the basic type of the partner that we are having, and we are moving into architecture reviews, deeper technical engagements, and actually we are not looking for the security product implementation, but basically, as I said, the MSSPs or security as the managed service. So something that you as the partner is going to run for the customer. Customer is going to trust you actually. So you are going to be trusted security advisor to the customer, really understanding what's happening in the security landscape. You are going to receive the information from Microsoft, like if the SolarGate is happening, you are going to help that customer resolve that issue with the SolarGate. And security is not the standalone project, it's the integral part of every project. So for instance, if you are having a project of migration to the cloud from the on-prem environment, integrate security into that. Security is integral part of that, not just only, okay, we need to turn on encryption and firewalls, but understand what the customer is actually using there. Are they implementing good identity scenario? Is there anything that you can help them, advise them to work differently and better to protect that environment? So security is part of every Microsoft product, and the security partners need to have that expertise. To be able to achieve that, on the next slide, you are going to see actually the certifications for enablement, technical enablement of you as the partner and your team. So there is in every Microsoft workload something that is called fundamental certification. So usually they have number 900. We have it in the security, compliance, and identity as well. And my suggestion is, don't be afraid. This is not technical exam. It's basically exam that is measuring your knowledge about security as a service. Let's put it that way. So my suggestion is, go and try it. Go and see it. Don't worry if you don't know anything about how to configure, let's say, Sentinel or Defender. This actually exam is going to give you an overview of the security technologies, implementation, integration, for you to be able to understand actually what's in the market and to be more relevant when you are going to speak to the customer. This is really important. So you need to know at least basics, and that's the basic exam. When we move to more advanced actually specialization, there are associate certificates. We have 6 of them currently out. So we have SC series 200, 300, 400. We have Azure security, which is AZ 500. We have M365 security, which is MS500. And the new one is AZ 700 in beta. So those certificates, from technical standpoint, covers all the basically security knowledge from Microsoft. And we are looking for the partners, of course, the readiness sessions and all the materials that are available. And to be able to achieve advanced specialization or gold or silver status, you need to have a specific amount of those exams. So think about it, put it into your development portfolio for your technical people. But as I said, that fundamental one for even business people. So on the next slide, I'm going to share the link with to something that is called the Partner Enablement Guide. This specifically for security and compliance. It's being run by the Corp team in Redmond. But why I really like it, you can find a really detailed set of information about how to upskill your people, your technical people, business people. You are going to find information how to build actually those security solutions. You are going to find examples from the other partners. It's a huge variety of the materials, links to the webcasts, to the sessions that you should explore if you are looking to invest more in the security business, and we are really hoping that you are going to do that. And with that, I think that I'm kind of at the end of the presentation, so I would like to thank you for this opportunity and pass it on to Olga.
Thank you very much, Igor. And I would just like to apologize once again for the technical issues. It was totally my fault as my internet decided not to cooperate. So here, start with, I know we have some partners that are, pretty experienced working with Microsoft on the call, but, just in case you have there are some partners that are considering cooperation. Let me just first start with a few tips, how to first of all be successful with Microsoft in terms of go-to-market. So first of all, and the reason why we started, actually Igor was, first before me, the first step before you even think about engaging with us in terms of go-to-market partnership is definitely to invest into your development, invest into those certification, understand, Microsoft platforms, get certified. So that's like kind of a given, the first step before we even talk about programs and workshops. The second step is basically to develop your solutions, so formulate your solutions with your partner development manager or contact at Microsoft. And then, it needs to be in our systems, it needs to be co-sell ready so that we can really engage you into the third step, which is co-selling with us Microsoft. Because actually the purpose of all the go-to-market programs at the end of the day, and I hope that you will see that clearly in my presentation, is finally to really co-sell, to kickstart the opportunities. It's not to generate some interest. Of course, ultimately, it's also about marketing, generating interest, but the ultimate goal is, of course, to co-sell together. And then, you need to also, Microsoft, obviously, if you have experience with us, complex organization, many programs, very hard to keep up with information, all the new information. And that's, part of the reason why we are also having these webinars, because despite that everything is out there for you as a partner in the partner center, it can be pretty, confusing to keep track of what really is available. And then in terms of security, let me start with some good news. Basically, probably you've seen we announced actually official information that we are increasing partner funding in security in FY22 by 400%. I mean, that's a huge increase. And probably now security is the most promising area for you to invest in and collaborate with Microsoft. I mean, no offense to my colleagues that are driving other solution areas, but I'm really passionate about this. Also talk a little bit more about in a minute. We are increasing and expanding Cloud Accelerator workshops, which is a 3-year-old motion that you may be already familiar with. Many people already, like Rasmus, Igor mentioned MISA. So MISA also has some investment behind and some go-to-market benefits behind. So that's also important to understand. And finally, we are also investing a lot into skilling. So what Igor was talking about, launching new certification, launching new courses, investing in advanced specializations for partners. And I mean, of course, we cannot also not talk about incentives. So those are some of the things that I will cover in my part. So first of all, I mentioned security immersion events. If you're an Azure partner, you should be familiar already with the concept of immersions. This is not a new, basically, motion, but it's new for Microsoft. For security. So we had already in last year immersion events for Azure from H2, so FY22 from January. We are launching this for security. So 250 participants per event, but it's also not a one-to-one like a workshop. So the idea here is to engage the customer at a very early stage, so to generate some interest into security solutions together. It's definitely a partner-led in a sense that we do not have Microsoft speakers. The speakers will be a partner. But we do the orchestration behind. So we have the topics defined. You can see them here: secure hybrid cloud and defend against threats. We also have target customers defined. We are orchestrating, the registrations through our CM organization, and the partner then is delivering the event and acting as a speaker. So I think it's, a pretty good format for you as a partner to kind of have that predefined, have that Microsoft do that work behind, and feature you as a speaker. You can see here on the right-hand side a link where you can express your interest into the immersion events if you would like to deliver them. But I always tell partner, it's good to fill out the form, but the most important thing is to really be connected to your Microsoft counterparts to kind of really be considered as a speaker for these events. But by all means, feel free to also fill out that form. A little bit about the agenda of the immersions. So as you can see, it's different to Azure immersions. So the idea is to have it a little bit more as a gamified experience. So basically, again, we will provide the materials and the toolkit, but the idea here is to show the customer in real time, or this kind of gamification type of thing, how the attacks are coming and how we are defending against the threats. So at the moment, I don't have very deep information on this, but I have the agenda here. We are preparing the materials. We will share them very soon. But just for you to kind of be aware what you can expect from immersions as a partner, what you should be able to deliver. And then the second type of the workshops is a little bit more, I would say, not so gamified, but it's more around hands-on labs. So very focused on Azure. So it's all about securing Azure. Can you just confirm that you can hear me, right? So I just saw some changes. In case that you lose me, please let me know. So yeah, so again, a very packed agenda here with hands-on labs and pretty exciting content for immersion events. Then we have for the next step of the customer journey, we have a more like Cloud Accelerator workshops. Again, not a new program. It's already like 3 years old, and I will tell you what is new around this. But in case, again, let me imagine that you do not know about this. Basically, it's a one-to-one type of workshop, so different to immersions. Immersions one-to-few, a Cloud Accelerator one-to-one. And the idea here is to, again, we have the target customers already predefined by Microsoft. Partner is a speaker, so again, don't expect Microsoft to be the speaker here. You are the star of the show. And then it's really a little bit about going deeper. So immersions are about generating demands. Cloud Accelerator workshops are about going deeper and really focusing on specific topics with just one customer. The topics, so we added some new topics here, for example, hybrid cloud security and threat protection. And you can go on this link below and basically download all the kits that are required for delivering of the workshops. You can also nominate your customer through this form. For a workshop, it can be fully partner-led. So if you have already a customer that qualifies and you're enabled on, you're familiar with the framework, you are eligible for the incentive for the Cloud Accelerator, then just nominate the customer and ready to go. But it can also be very much that we can drive this together with you. So as a partner benefits, of course, I mean, I will tell you like what the payment for the workshop is, but I think it's not about that. I mean, really the main benefit of this motion is this ability to to have these target customers, that we put you as a partner in front of the customer. And this is just the beginning in the journey. So the idea is that we will co-sell together after you deliver the workshops. In terms of here, I just would like to show new to cloud, then for them transition to cloud is the right one. As we move up the maturity in terms of the cloud and security of the customer, then we can position identity workshops, then it goes up to Azure Sentinel, hybrid cloud security. So again, think about the maturity of the customer. We can again think together, and then we position the workshop based on that. So here, the most interesting slide, of course, is the money. And again, so it's for immersion events, we pay the same amount as for Azure immersion, so about 1K. For workshops, about 5K per engagement. But look, again, I think it's not about that. The idea of the incentive for the go-to-market programs is not to make it profitable for you in a sense that you are now in a workshop business. That's not what we want. We want for you as a partner to, we just want to offset some of your pre-sales and marketing costs with these amounts. And then, of course, the biggest money for you as a the staircase, but the biggest profit that you can make is from upselling these managed services and also from your incentives that you get from deployment and adoption. Here you can see, which things are field nominated. Field means, Microsoft, and which things are partner nominated. So as I mentioned, for example, immersion events are more, we invite you as a partner to participate. Cloud adoption, cloud accelerator workshops are partner nominated, but we can also work together on that. And you can see also incentives also vary. I would like to also point your attention to a couple of CEE incentive campaigns that we have. So again, probably with our complexity, you may not be aware, but I've just pulled out here 2 examples of the incentives campaigns that are relevant, I think, for security. So obviously in security, from Microsoft point of view, we have M365 and E5, and then we also have Azure, so ACR, Azure Cloud, Azure Consumed Revenue. So this campaign, for example, is for new customers. Some additional, so they're not consuming too much, and then you can upsell them M365, or you can upsell them Azure Security portfolio. You can get up to 5K incentive. Let me be also clear that it's 5K for Azure and 2K for M365. So potentially from the same customer, from different customers, you can earn, a double amount here from security point of view. And then another incentive campaign that we have also locally is what we call premium mix. So again, it's not about new customers, it's about upselling premium workloads to existing customers. So from security point of view, Azure is probably not relevant here because the premium, the workloads that we have in these campaigns are not covering security ACR. But if you upsell the customer E5, you can earn a 5% year-on-year incremental growth. 2% we also have several incentive sessions the webinar series, so I definitely recommend you to check it out. And this is something you can earn on top because this is a CE specific campaign. Now, MISA was mentioned several times by Igor and Rasmus, so finally we get to that. So this is basically, as we mentioned, Microsoft Intelligence Security Association. If you're already a member, great. Let me refresh you on what the benefits are. But if you're not a member, then it's probably also good to know about this ecosystem of partners. You can see here that we have about so like 200 plus members, and the growth of the membership is huge. So in FY22, again, hopefully I can a little bit give you a hint that it's going to be a big year for security. If you look at the MISA memberships, we also expect huge growth in terms of our MISA members. And the program offers also very nice benefits for the partners. So it's like on top of the other programs that I already mentioned before. But I think like one of the biggest benefits is that it's a community. There's a Teams channel where you can exchange with other partners, but also you get a sort of a MISA manager that can help you to kind of maximize the MISA benefits that you have. So I would definitely connect. If you haven't been in touch with your MISA marketing manager, I would recommend to get in touch. There are also a lot of technical benefits in terms of access to previews and also access to product roadmap under NDA, which I think is also very nice. But in terms of go-to-market benefits, there's a lot as well, and a lot of it is by discretion. But it ranges from being invited as a speaker to some of the sponsored Microsoft events. Obviously now, with COVID, still the number of physical events is very limited. But we can also consider, for example, a custom campaign with you if you're a MISA member, or we can also do some promotion together. Obviously, like it's like a branding, so a little bit like a branding. You get a badge and things like that. So opportunities to get featured on a blog. But it's like the benefits, because it's not that there's like a package that you get, and then you go through the list and you get all the benefits. We also need a little bit to work together to see, what fits your current situation in terms of MISA. And so Igor mentioned the gold competency requirement. So you need to be gold. You need to have a partner development manager or PDMR. So if you're a recruit partner, so if you're new partner to Microsoft, but you have a partner development manager responsible for recruit, it's also possible to be nominated. And this is probably the program, if you're a service partner, not ISV, then I can also help, because my role, like, apologies for the acronym PMIS, is actually me here for Central Eastern Europe. So it stands for Partner Marketing Advisor, but I can also help recommend you if you want to apply for, if you qualify and you would like to apply for this program, then I'm also here to help. And let me just wrap up with going back to the first slide I showed. So again, I think with Microsoft, in order to be successful, but it's really true. So obviously we have silver, gold status, and you need to invest, of course, into achieving those statuses. You need to have certified people. But I would say it really pays off, because beyond the benefits that are listed here, I think when you do invest and you get the gold status, when you invest, for example, advanced specialization, we also then invest in you, because we obviously definitely prioritize partners that are with gold status, with advanced specializations, MISA members, for all these programs and campaigns that I mentioned before. The priority partners are the ones that gold invested in us, achieved advanced specialization, passed the certifications, and then then you see the go-to-market benefits from Microsoft. Just one last minute to mention that we will share this PPT, and you will find a lot of good resources in this deck. For example, if you're a new partner to Microsoft, we have the top 10 links that you can follow, and also we have an alias that you can send us an email to if you're of them we sponsor to get you certified. You also have some certification links here. And finally, for Rasmus's part, here are some of the materials, Ignite announcements that you can also follow to pitch basically the story together to your customers. And and some MISA resources as well. And the very last thing is I would like to promote to you the next webinar, which will be focused on Azure and will be delivered by my colleague Thomas Pavlo. Please register yourself. It's going to happen next week already from 1 to 2 p.m. CET. You have a QR code here. Very interesting session, and we also really hope to see you there. So with that, one last thing, apologies, I didn't have a chance to monitor the Q&A chat. If you have a burning question, please reach out to me directly, or I will check after I hang up, and I will see if I can answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you, Igor. Thank you, Rasmus. And we don't have any questions in the Q&A chat. So as Olga told, please reach out directly to the speakers if you will have any questions. So thank you again, everyone, for attending. Thank you to presenters. And with this, we're closing the session. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.